Sound of the City Focus with Saaiman Says.
It is Saaiman in the building. As mentioned, I want to welcome to Cape Town, welcome to South Africa, American artist, songwriter, actor, producer. He goes by the name of Ryan. Toby, Ryan, welcome, man.
Hey.
Listen, man. I said it off air. I don't think I have enough time to speak to you. We're talking about 3 decades.
Yeah.
I reminded you. Sorry that I had to be the person, you know?
All right, you sent me into like an existential crisis for a quick second. I was like, wait a minute.
Who am I?
30 years.
30 years, man. We tack it all the way back. And I think for those who just joined us, let me start. It's not the start for you, but it's probably the start for us where we get to get an understanding of who you are. So I'm going to play a little something over here. You can check, there's a video playing behind you over there.
I remember that kid.
You remember that kid? Oh, come on, Whoopi. Come on, Whoopi. So we're watching the video right now in the background. Ryan Toby's in the building. He is, yeah, man. Listen, and I think nostalgia is such a big thing, man. That gave me a feeling when I got the video. It gave me this feeling of myself as a kid looking at this other kid and being like, oh, like, wow, like, how do you do this?
Right.
You know? Yeah. And I mean, can you tell us a bit about the background behind how you get into the show? I know it was one of your first auditions that you auditioned for a movie.
It was the first.
The first one, right?
The first one. Yeah, I didn't have any prior acting training or any skills in that area. You know what I mean? I didn't have an agent. I wasn't in the union. Nothing.
It was Marvin.
It was my manager, Marvin.
Marvin.
He's a fast-talking, slick-talking, you know.
Yeah.
But, between him, I was working also with the head of A&R at RCA Records at the time, a guy named Kenny Ortiz. He signed the group
Kenny Ortiz.
SWV. Yeah. He signed early Pharrell and the Neptunes. So I was seeing young SWV, young Pharrell, you know. And he was working with me, trying to develop me to get me prepped to maybe do a deal with RCA.
Okay.
And then a little fun fact, my first demo that was written for me for my development deal was written by Joe, the singer Joe. Before he
Joe
came
Thomas.
Yeah, Joe, before he came out as Joe.
You literally missed Joe by like 2 weeks. He was here, man.
Right.
He performed.
Right.
He sold out the arena. I was there.
Wow.
Big fan. Wow. So he writes your first demo, and you know him at the time, obviously, or
no,
he's not.
He came in the room. He was just a guy named Joe.
Oh man,
Stop. Because Kenny had different producers. He had young producers. He had writers. He had people that he was working with at the time. So, like I said, Pharrell and the Neptunes
and Chad, Pharrell and Chad.
So Joe was a part of this production team called I forget what they were. Black Hand or something like that.
Yeah.
So, Kenny's like, yeah, I'm going to put you in the studio with these guys. They're going to do a couple, demos on you. You know what I mean? Because he thought I had raw talent, but I needed to be polished.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to get you with some good guys, work with you, whatever. Let's go to the studio. And then in walks this writer guy, and he's like, hey, my name's Joe. And
he's a cool cat.
Yeah, cool dude. He wrote the song or whatever, and I sang the song, whatever. And then I don't even know what happened to that song. But I know a year later, his album came out.
And it was on there.
And he was Joe.
And he was...
I was like, oh, that's the guy. So I started learning very quickly how that process works. You'll meet someone, and then a year later, there's somebody. I remember being at a birthday party. Michael Bivins back in the day had this birthday party when Michael Bivins had Boyz II Men and ABC and all that. Big birthday party. All these celebrities are at his birthday party. And Grand Poobah from the Brand Nubians, he was like, hey, man, what's up, shorty? You having a good time? I'm like, yeah. This is my first, industry party.
Yeah, and you're about 15?
14. 15.
Yeah.
And he's like, come here, I want you to meet somebody. And he introduces me to this little young chocolate girl standing in the corner. He's like, this is my friend. Her name is Mary. She's a singer, too.
Mary J. Blige. No.
Hi, how you doing? Hi. She's just a girl named Mary. And then a year later... Boom, dum, 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 dum. Real love. I was like, wait, that's the girl from the party.
Wow. And I mean, if we go into it, you also then ended up writing for Mary J. Blige at some point, right?
Yeah, I did. I worked with Mary.
Can't Hide Love.
Mm-hmm. I worked on. I did 2 songs, and I think the other one was called "Father and You" or something like that. Okay. Yeah, on that album, that was her big album. Yeah.
So you meet a lot of the people who end up like really blowing up, and you learn that perhaps you might not want to be that person. You learn when you meet Joe, who writes your song, and then you know you learn things from different people when you start out, right? And you kind of gravitated towards the songwriter.
Well, I wanted to be the artist, like, hands down.
Yeah.
I wanted to, be in the music video, singing in the rain, walking in slow motion, dancing, singing to the
R&B hands.
I wanted to be
grabbing the grabbing the R&B air,
the R&B air, pointing. You know what I mean? Standing in the desert with leather boots on for some strange reason.
It's either the rain or the desert.
Or the desert.
Yeah, we don't have normal weather in R&B, man.
Exactly. So that was my dream, and then all these other ancillary opportunities started to present themselves, like being in a movie, which wasn't a dream of mine, but I quickly learned sometimes even while you're pursuing your dream, knocking on one door, you got to pay attention to other windows that might have a crack or pop open.
Love that.
In my pursuit of a record deal, I landed in a movie. In my pursuit of a record deal, I started writing with different artists. In my pursuit of the record, the one thing I wanted, all these other opportunities started presenting themselves. So I became very aware very quickly that, you have to be open to however the universe wants to bring you.
That's a great lesson.
Thing,
That's a great lesson. I mean, the end goal doesn't always happen the same way you envision it, but if you close off.
Yeah. The thing is, you set your intention, but you live with no expectation of how it can come. You just know, I want to be on the other side of the mountain. How you get there, you think it may be a straight path straight over, but you may go down by the stream, you may have to camp by the river for a little bit, you might have to go up in the woods, you might stay in the cave for a little. There's so many different ways and paths to get over the mountain.
Man.
And you just got to be willing to, try.
And just keep going.
And just keep going.
Keep going on the journey,
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Somebody may just come pick you up in a helicopter.
Or Will Smith might just take you to LA in his jet.
Listen, man.
That happened.
That happened. That was
on the same day. He was like, "Let's go to LA. I'm working on some music." So you wrote Miami for Will Smith.
I did. I was signed to Jazzy Jeff, his partner Jazzy Jeff's company, A Touch of Jazz at the time. And I was working on what was supposed to be my album. And during that time, Will came down. And Will told Jeff, "Hey man, I'm working on a comeback album. Let me hear some songs you got from some of your stable artists." And I was one of them. And so Jeff played Will my songs because I was singing and rapping. And so Will loved the songs. He was like, "Man, who's that rapping? Oh, this kid named Ryan. Oh, who's that singing the chorus? Oh, that's the same kid."
He
was
like,
"What?" So Will was like, "Let me have that song. These songs that I had." And Jeff called me and was like, "Hey, Will wants to record your songs." And I was very green to the whole ghostwriting for other artists at that time. So, man, I don't want to give him my songs.
It's mine. It's mine.
Trying to force the path. And Jeff gave me a very, very valuable lesson. I love him to this day for it. He was just like, "Ryan, you are a writer. You're a songwriter. You will always write more songs. You don't have to hold on to it so tightly and think that, no, this is the only way it has to be." So I was like, okay, fine. And I ended up giving Will the one song he really liked. Then he said, after we recorded it, he was like, "You want to write another one?" I was like, "Yeah," and came up with another one on the spot. He recorded that one, and then he was like, "You want to come with me to LA? I'm going to work with like Snoop Dogg and Warren G and like,
You're like, "Yeah, of course."
I was like,
"When?"
Yeah, when? He's like, "Now, like right now." And I'm like, we got to go to the airport? Or I didn't even know how all of that worked. He was like, no, man, I got the plane. I got the Sony jet. Tommy Mottola, gave him the Sony jet to fly on. So that was my first experience on a private jet with Will Smith and his new, at the time, girlfriend, Jada Pinkett.
at that point just Jada Pinkett, no Smith yet.
Yeah. Nah, she was just, fine ass Jada. And he was dating her, and it was just like, wow. So, yeah, that was great. Stayed at his house, hung out with him. We worked, and then we flew to, we left L.A. and we went to New York to work with the Trackmasters, and that's when we came up with a couple of more songs in Miami. Miami was the last song we recorded.
Wow.
Yep.
Such a great lesson in that, because, I mean, you're with Will Smith. If you are there as an artist, only an artist, trying to either get a collab or trying to like work with him, you're probably not going on that jet.
Exactly.
But because you're there as the man who creates the music,
exactly.
You go on the jet.
Exactly.
And I think there's a beautiful lesson in that, man.
Y'all know the name. Chad Saaiman.
Weekdays 6 to 9 p.m. Exclusive to Good Hope FM.
Saaiman says, yo, what's up?
So as mentioned, Ryan Toby in the studio. Ryan, listen, man, it is your first time in Cape Town?
Yeah.
You've been here for a few days, but it is your first time. What was the first impression when you arrived?
The beauty.
Yeah.
The mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks like Beverly Hills on the water. It's like Beverly Hills, Miami.
Yeah.
I get New York vibes in certain sections. I get San Francisco vibes on certain sections. It's like you guys have so many different influences from so many different places.
I think it's the beauty of what makes it work. I think it's the diversity. It's cosmopolitan, but it's also you get suburban life, but you also feel like you go out to the winelands and you see the farm life, and you're like you walk through the city. That's exactly what you're saying, right?
It's beautiful here. I love it here. I think I'm tempted to get a place here.
Come on. We know some people, man.
Right.
We know some people who know some people.
Right.
Listen, and I a lot of the artists have been coming through the city. As I mentioned, Joe was here a few weeks ago. Tevin's been here. Brown McKnight's been here. And these are all for shows, though. But I do know some other artists are looking at coming here because they're starting to see the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Eric Bellinger was here.
Oh, I know Eric.
You know Eric? He actually was sitting in your very seat about 3 weeks ago. He was in town working on some music.
Nice. Yeah, Eric he's a monster. He's a beast.
He's got songs for days, man.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
The
songwriter, man. It's the songwriter, the artist, the song, the creation. I think you've said it in one of your other interviews. You were intrigued with the fact that you could walk into studio with nothing.
Yeah.
And walk out with something.
That still to this day is the crux of my joy when it comes to music, entertainment, with all the fame and all that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But that can get a little annoying. The real joy for me, the real joy for me is crafting music, crafting it from nothing. We go into the studio, we want to work on something. There was nothing, and then
it was silence.
It was silence, and then all of a sudden, somebody's plucking on a guitar. You start singing a line, but we start talking about life. Next thing you know, there's a melody, and oh wow, that could be a chorus. Oh, and then we piece this thing that's invisible.
Yeah.
And then we piece it together, and then at the end of the night, we're driving home and we're playing it in the car. Now it's a thing that lives, and it's loud, and it's banging, and it's fresh, or it's got emotion. And then it can be released or sold to an artist or put out yourself or whatever, and then it turns into cash. Like out of the air. We just like...
Listen, that wasn't the ending I was expecting. But I'm here for it.
Yes.
I'm here for it. That was not the ending I was expecting, but I'm definitely here for it. That is incredible, man. It turns into cash. It started with silence. And then it was loud at the end, when the bank said, hello, Mr. Toby.
Yes, publishing check. It's a check in the mail.
Yeah.
It's a direct deposit. That your phone goes bling.
Bling.
Just
and
received.
Like, oh, wow.
Wow.
Thank
this
you,
is
Usher.
we did from 4 years ago, 5 years. And that's the thing, too. The beauty of the timelessness of it. For so many other things, when you go to work, you work and then you're paid for the work you just did.
Yeah.
But in the music industry, art is like you could create something that doesn't necessarily yield revenue until 4, 5, 6 years later. There's songs that I've done with Usher from 5 years ago, and then he puts it out today. And you know what I mean? And it's like, wow, that song is still relevant.
Yeah.
It's timeless. We still feel the same emotion we felt when we made it. And here's 5 years later.
Wow. And if we think about even like artists like Miguel, with songs being sped up or slowed down, because I mean that's a new thing, right? Over the last few years, a song would become a hit on TikTok or by being sped up, and everyone would use it. But then they would release the sped up version. The streams are being run up on the sped up version. The original version gets played on radio because he hit number one on one of the charts. I think the Billboard charts. Or something like that at some point again, or at least top 10 with Sure Thing that came out in 2013.
The sped up. You know, I had a copy of Sure Thing in 2006.
Wow.
2005 almost. Yes.
What?
I had
That's
Miguel,
like 8
I had
years
Miguel's,
before it comes out.
like album literally 8 years before it came out. When he was just a writer named Miguel.
See?
He was just a writer. And we wrote on Usher's Here I Stand album. We did a song called Revolver.
Yeah, I know that one.
And Miguel was just this like super talented young kid. And him and Usher wrote this song, and he had some songs, and I was listening to his songs for like 2 years, 3 years, and then all of a sudden then the album comes out and he's Miguel.
I mean, I feel like you know the movie Good Luck Chuck where the guy, every time he meets a woman, the woman gets married. I feel like you, Good Luck Chuck, in the music business. Every time you meet someone young,
absolutely, absolutely. So many. I could go on and on about how I met a kid from such and such, whatever. Worked with him in the studio, da 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 da. And then a year later, 2 years later, he's a part of either the artist himself or maybe a producer, or he's got the #1 record in the world. It's like, wow.
What do you pick up across some of the, I mean, you play a role in a lot of these people's success because of the music you make for them, the music you write for them, right? Because artists are ideally built with hit songs. What do you notice from meeting a young Mary J. Blige, meeting a young SWV, whoever else? What did you know? Did they have something in common, or were they developed?
They were definitely developed. They were just, nothing stand out.
Okay.
Now, the only one that I will say was stand out, I remember seeing Bow Wow.
Okay.
Jermaine Dupri brought out Bow Wow at it was like at an award show, like a BMI Awards or something. And he was just like, hey, I want y'all to check out my new artist, this new artist I'm working with. And he's like, come here, Bow Wow. And Bow Wow came out on stage, tiny little kid, and started doing his thing, rapping it. And I was like, oh, wow, that kid's a superstar. Yeah. Like, I saw it immediately.
Okay.
The other scenarios and instance. Oh, Chris Brown. Okay. I was the first writer that he worked with when he got his record deal. So he was 15 years old, and he all I could remember was he never stopped dancing. He never stopped moving.
In the studio?
In the studio. He never stopped dancing. And it was like, and first you think like, is something wrong with this kid? Like, I mean, you're talking to him, and he's like,
and he's just popping and locking
and dancing and shaking, and he wants to play basketball. He wants to do it. Was just like, I was like, okay, that kid is probably going to be a star too, because you could see the love, you could see the passion already in him. And then a couple of years later, no, not even, about 6 months later,
probably Run It was one of the first. That was it before.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, miss.
No. Excuse me, miss. Yeah, my boys did that. Dre and Vidal. Those are my brothers.
So those are the guys you came up with who told you
out of Philly.
Yeah, who told you to come through to Philly.
Told me to leave college.
No, they told
I left college.
You
because
did
of
leave
them.
college, yeah.
I did.
But I mean, you made the right decision, and you also paid for it.
I did. My parents weren't upset. They weren't too upset.
Listen, kids out there, do not try this at home.
No.
Yeah, unless you're paying for it.
Yeah, unless you're paying for it. Unless you can make $1 million.
Oh, man.
Don't leave school.
Yeah, don't leave school, guys, man. You know, I wanted to make music. My dad was like, cool, you can make music, but you got to go study, get something behind your name. It'll mean something to our, I mean, in hindsight, I realized getting a degree meant something to our family, the greater family. Yeah. In terms of opportunities that we got that they didn't get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I ended up studying English literature and communications, which, I mean, is basically foundational for when you combine it with,
Yep. Exactly.
So, man, shout out to everyone out there studying. If you feel like you're halfway there or you're 3/4 of the way there and it's tough, keep going, man, if you can. Absolutely. Unless you got that opportunity that is clear. Ryan Toby said he saw the opportunity. Dan Vidal called. You left.
Man. I left. I was in
Louisiana.
Grambling, Louisiana. I wasn't having a very good time. I wasn't very astute.
Yeah.
I hated high school, so I was like, why am I in college again? You know. So yeah, they were working with Jazzy Jeff and working in his $1 million studio. He had a nice facility in Philly, and he was opening his doors to young talent in Philly and allowing them to groom and hone their craft and learn how to engineer, learn how to mix, learn how to. So that became my college. That became my university.
I love that.
So I left, you know, the technical university, and I went to a different type of university that actually fed my career. It turned me into what I became, which was, you know, a hit songwriter and a polished artist and a Grammy-nominated artist, and all of that was in the school that Jazzy Jeff provided.
Wow. School of life, man.
Yeah.
The school of life. I was saying this to Ryan, Toby, off air. I haven't looked at my questions yet. And we're almost at the end. We have 3 more minutes.
Well, maybe you can rattle them off real quick. And
let me see what I got over here. In my questions over here, there are a few things I wanted to discuss. So the high note you hit in Sister Act 2, Bandy, it's a high E flat.
Yeah.
Did someone give you that note? Say, can you get here? Because why would someone give you that note? They didn't, right?
No, I used to try to mimic Mariah Carey.
Whistle technique,
yeah,
kinda?
the whistle. So in the early 90s, Mariah was a new artist when she was doing all these whistle notes. So in my voice, I hadn't hit puberty yet, so my voice was high. I could hit those notes. So that was something I used to do to try to impress the girls at school.
Hey, man.
You know what I mean?
Get you far.
Right. So when we were in the studio recording the Oh Happy Day, we were recording it, and we needed a big bridge part, and I tried a couple different ad-libs, couple different things, and then my manager Marvin was like, do one of those whistle notes you do all the time.
Marvin.
Yeah.
Come on, Marvin.
So I tried it. The producer, Mervyn Warren, he was the musical director for the film. He loved it. He was like, let's get another take of that. So we did it about 3 times to perfect it, and then, it was in the movie.
Man, it's a quintessential part musically from a nostalgic point of view for us here, man. I like I said earlier, I remember watching Sister Act 2 and seeing this kid, and I was like, and you know, we were all then trying to like sing, but then we had to stop at that part, man. We had to stop. 99% of us had to stop when it got to that note. We were just like, when Jesus... We're going to leave this one to Ryan. Toby. We're going to leave it to Amal to do this one. But I mean, such a beautiful moment, man. And then I also heard that you wrote the joyful rap for that particular...
Yeah, joyful, Lord, adore thee.
And that's how you learned about publishing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That was my first taste of education in the publishing space and how it works, and how when you write lyrics in a song that's used in a movie, you get paid every time the movie is played on TV, film, movie theaters, whatever. So I've been getting paid off that for the last 30 years.
30 years, man.
Yeah,
I think that was the reminder I gave you. You've been getting publishing. You've been getting publishing for 30 years.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm going to run through some of the artists before we say ciao. Okay. Some of the artists that you have written for. We threw in Will Smith, Lionel Richie. You got to work with Lionel? Oh, man, I'd love to meet them one day. I feel like he's the uncle that we all wish we had.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Or what?
He's so cool, so down to earth. He's so rich. And his house is so big.
It's a massive.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
Yeah. Songs as well, right?
Oh my God. He built such a publishing catalog. These are my heroes. I would always look to the Lionel Richies and the Stevie Wonders and the singer-songwriters, the baby faces, even R. Kelly, just the guys who could just craft it. Just the crafting of it, it was always intrigued me. I would always flip over the CD and read the liner notes to see who was in the credits and why is this guy's name in the credits for this song, and then his name is in this album.
All the time.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? Yeah.
And that always intrigued me. I always wanted to be that guy in the credits.
Oh, man. Man, and you are. I was trying to go through all the songs you've written for artists, but I ran out of time. I had to go sleep eventually last night. Ryan, I just want to say, it's been a privilege having you here, getting to speak to you. I'm sure we will continue the conversation offline. We will put this conversation up on the Good Up FM podcast site. If you did miss it, it'll go out on the socials as well. I got a voice note that came in over here, and it's from one of our listeners called Mr. White. Let's hear what he has to say.
Good evening, Chad. Chad, please, sorry. It's like I'm speaking to a childhood hero now. Can you please ask that distinguished gentleman in front of you to to please just do the first part, singing "Oh Happy Day" for us. Please.
I knew. I had a feeling that was coming.
Oh man. Okay. I mean, you know, we gotta just the opening line, man.
Hey. Oh, happy day.
Oh,
happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day.
Come on.
When Jesus was.
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 He washed my sins away.
Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Come on, right, Toby.
La 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 la.
Everybody at home, sing with us. Mr. White, that one was for you and all the listeners. Ryan, Toby, what a way to end the conversation. God bless you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for spending time in Cape Town.
Yeah.
The door is always open.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and you have a fantastic stay further.
Thank you. Appreciate it.